let's call the regular meeting to order for the Woodbury Select Board on Monday, May 12th at 6:01. It's year 2025.
One of these? Oh, it would be already on the table.
And the first thing to ask is if other members of the Select Board have any adjustments to the
I
agenda.
have one extra thing. The listers are asking for an extension, which they do every year.
Okay, and when would you like to do that?
Any other time.
Okay. Can we do that under updates and other business?
Sure.
All right, so the listers.
As long as I don't lose it, I mean.
And I have an amendment or an adjustment that as acting town health officer, I can do a report on a couple site visits that I did.
Okay.
And if there's no,
Didn't I put that on there?
I don't think it's on there.
Reports at 7:30. But you can move that up.
Yeah, reports, yeah, that, okay. So if there's no objection, maybe we will do that just prior to the town clerk's report, so that any individuals that are here for that could
Oh, is that what it is?
do their thing.
John, I'm really good for it. Thank you. Yeah, my wife really likes it.
All right.
That.
So we both had a chance to look at the minutes. Diana, what do you think about the minutes from April 28th?
Recording in progress.
Okay. I would make a motion that we approve these minutes from April 28th.
I would,
As
as a member of the public, point out that Susie's Graves is Susie, not Sally. And
That's my mistake. I could remember Carlotta, but I couldn't remember Susie.
And I think that's been
I'd
amended.
rather take Sally.
Yeah. Thank you.
Not a burning issue of ours.
Thank you for bringing that up.
But we did notice it and it was fixed. I don't think, oh gosh, it's not, what the heck?
Is this still in there? Well, we can,
I thought I fixed it 100 times, but anyways, all in favor? Yeah.
all in favor of approving the minutes from April 28th as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. These are, thank you, Diana. And then we have a moment for public comment. And Goddard, I guess for the record, just would state your name and.
Yeah, Goddard Graves, Woodbury resident. I don't know whether Michael was familiar with my visitation last time. I think
He read it in.
Okay, excellent. I don't have a lot to say, except that in the ensuing 2 weeks, I've had many conversations with people in all corners of the world, it seems, about this. And the situation, the immediate situation which I discussed last week on Sand Hill Road has not changed visibly. And at some point, I'd like to ask Chris whether on-site visit has been made yet. I should point out that in my conversations I've had, several interesting facts have come to light, not least of which is that the state is involved in this and will be on a fairly conspicuous and extravagant level, no matter what the board chooses to do or not do about it. I don't want to go into that in detail unless pressed. What I can say is that seeing basically no change and having talked with people in state government, town government, the media, and my neighbors, I'm not optimistic about the situation. The cynical part of me woke up the other morning and said that when my time comes, and I'm not a young man, it might be simpler if my remains are just thrown down at the Walker Brothers, because, you know, that's about the only thing hasn't been dumped there in the last 6 years. At least all my friends and family were nowhere to visit me. I hope it doesn't come to that.
I hope it doesn't either.
I don't. Would this be the appropriate time to ask what came of the visit or your plan to visit with Paul?
Yeah, we can get right into the town health, that part of the agenda for sure. So I visited 2 properties. The one on Upper Harris Cove, we'll just talk about that one quickly because it's easier. That appears to be a camp that is not occupied, or I spoke to a couple of residents that I passed by. Doesn't seem like there's much activity there. There's no, there's no visible health, there's no sewage, there's no food, there's just garbage.
Stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
it's just,
stuff,
it's
not
just,
like food garbage.
no, not food
grocery
garbage, but
garbage,
stuff,
junk and stuff.
all kinds of stuff, insulation, and you're right, it's under a collapsed tent. So beyond that, there's no, I mean, it's unsightly, but there's no public health risk at that site. Did you have a question?
I have a supplement to your report.
Okay.
I wrote a letter to the owner. They gave me her address at the town office, and the other night I got a very nice phone call. She was concerned with my letter because I said that there had been a lot of complaints about stuff that was left over there sitting in the yard for years. And she wasn't aware of that, but I told her it's not really illegal to have a messy yard, but it would be nice for her value of your property to get it cleaned up. So anyway, she said she's planning to come up sometime in the next few weeks and spend a couple weeks and work on the place.
So
So
she's not in the area.
she's in New North Carolina.
Oh, well, that'd be
That's
pretty
convenient.
hard to.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised that she would even think about doing that. I was hoping she would just say, go ahead and see if the neighbors want to pay to clean it up because they're the ones that are concerned. But she said no, she's planning to come up. So anyway, that's a little progress there maybe.
Yeah, thanks for writing that letter.
So can I put in something, because I forgot to, I'd like to give thanks when the office staff has been very helpful to me in my investigations, and they supplied me with the building permit, which supposedly governs the structures down there, the appropriate, and the appropriate town ordinance, which have been invaluable. They have become my constant study. And I appreciate the fact that the folks in the town offices and so forth coming. No, shut up.
So last Thursday, Paul Cerruti and I went over to the property, Walker's property on Sand Hill. Paul had received complaints about open burning, so we decided we would do it together. Showed up about 8:30 in the morning. Spoke to Mr. Walker, although he didn't want to come out and he didn't want to invite us in, so we spoke through his glass door. I was able to, in the time that I walked up there, look around, there isn't a glaring, I mean, there is a lot of stuff there, and there's a lot of broken down stuff in the yard. I was there primarily to see if there was a health and safety issue, and nothing, without scouring every part of his property, there's no way to there doesn't appear to be open sewage or food let out. There are certainly beer cans and car parts and all manner of things. I did ask how, because the concern has been how is human waste being dealt with on site. He was pretty uncomfortable to answer that question at first. He just said that he had dealt with he kept saying he had dealt with the EPA, which seems unlikely, but
Even A&R.
so, but eventually he told me that he and his brother, I spoke to Todd, do have what's similar to an RV container, I guess, and that there's a station in Barry where they take it to be dumped.
They've been seen pouring it over the hill on Sand Hill Road. I mean, that's not buried.
Understood. I'm not necessarily. I'm just reporting back what I was told, right? Like I had this conversation with this gentleman through the door, and
Did you say at 2:30 in the morning?
8:30 in the morning. Yeah, that would have been a
That was a very interesting
Yeah.
conversation.
yeah.
That might have been a health hazard.
Yeah, for me. Anyways, We,
Now, there are sort of two structures there.
mhm.
Which one did you go to, or does it make any difference?
I don't know that it makes any difference. Todd is the one, if you're standing, looking at the property, his is on the right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so we spoke to him. Nobody else, we couldn't get anybody else to come out necessarily. So I guess, part of what, from a health perspective, I mean, it's not ideal. I know that there's, especially the open burning. I spoke to Pete Parker actually this morning, who said that, sometimes when there's garbage being burned, whether it's being burned in the yard or in the fireplace, it wafts down to his property. He has to shut up all his windows and doors. According to Paul, if that's happening in a wood stove in the house, he doesn't have jurisdiction. If it's happening out in the yard, then that's something he can deal with. There was no, I don't want to speak for Paul, but there was no evidence of like an open fire pit with garbage in it.
No burn barrel.
No burn barrel. So I guess the question then, as a new town health officer, I think that the next steps would be for me to figure out what is possible to do. There's no sewage on the ground.
Right.
There's no, there doesn't appear to be an imminent health hazard.
Well, right now, I would agree with you, but, and they've been down there for a long time. In the summer, in July, if that's the way it is, I suggest you come back when it's, running down the stream and the heat is causing such stench all over everywhere.
In the ditch along the road.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it seems to, my objection to the whole thing, yeah, it looks awful, but I know it really just somebody's place looking awful is, I don't think that necessarily, something illegal.
Illegal.
But when you have young girls going from door to door, the houses on the road asking for $5 so they can get what they need to get, or else they have to sell themselves, I think that's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that none of you have daughters that are in their teens and young 20s in that. And I'm not saying that, this town can do anything about it, but it seems to me like that's the kind of thing we wouldn't want to start in a town, to have the reputation of we've got a whorehouse down here, and a drug house down here, and a garbage pit down here, all in one
Got that
little place.
already.
It's a pain in the ass, I'll tell you. And we pay our taxes like everybody else, and we have a right to have a fairly decent place to live.
So you said you saw them dumping their
Over
garbage, their sewage?
Over your place. They have a trailer, it's flatbed trailer.
Yeah.
It has this thing that goes in a camper where all waste goes in.
Yeah.
And they come down the road,
I was
park
just asking
alongside.
whether you've actually seen this.
No, I saw that, all of that just sitting there. I didn't see it happening at the exact time. But there are people who have seen it. I mean,
And there's
People
no way
all around.
that they'd make a round trip to Barry and the time it takes for that place, for that container to leave that property and then come back 15 minutes. It's not a round trip to Barry, I'm sorry. It's not-
I don't have a solution to the problem, but it's really disturbing.
I would like-
Also, Goddard and I are really old. I mean, we're really old. And we have a lot of drugs in our house that are legal, pharmaceuticals. And sometimes when I'm up there by myself, I really hope, I'm not gonna have any trouble because, I don't want anybody coming in and checking through my medicine cabinet.
Sure. Yeah.
And this is just, I don't think it's right for people to have to live like that.
I'd like to go back to something earlier. There are gears within gears within gears, and this situation has been evolving or devolving for over 6 years. It is my position, and I'm speaking just for myself, and I suspect I know how Susie feels, that those two structures there are illegal. Repeat after me, illegal. There was a building permit issued in 2019 for a pole barn. Those are not pole barn, first of all, it's only one structure. There are two structures now, which are residential structures. Obviously, one does not equal two. The one that was covered by the permit is described as a pole barn. I talked with Bob Martin about, Bob Martin and I have a good relationship. We have had a good talk about this. I said, Bob, you just plain dropped the ball. This application has lies on it. You swallowed it, you signed it off, and then when supposedly the work was done, you never went back to see how the work as done lined up with the approval granted by the village. And he said, well, it's been lovely talking with you and I appreciate seeing it on TV. And that's where that is. I think this is one of the reasons this has gone on so long is because there are these two structures. I know, and I've heard the old argument, well, ultimately it'll go to court and the judge will say better for them to live in a dump than live under a bridge. That's good as far as it goes, which to me is about that far. There's a bigger issue here.
So the
I
second
don't-
camper is in a building too?
Sorry?
The second camper is surrounded by a building?
There's a shell over it made of 2x4s and plywood and
Oh,
skids and
okay.
everything. It's kind of wrapping around a motorhome that was moved up from Texas a few years ago. I don't even know if they have electricity, but that's, again, I don't want to get off of the side issues here.
Sorry.
I think that the central issue as regards to the village and its behavior or lack of action is that the village has countenanced the use of this property in an illegal way. There are two structures there, one of which absolutely has no legal justification, and the other one has a very dubious justification, which you would see. We didn't have a chance to bring the documents up. If you compare the permit as issued, which is on file at the office, with what you see down there, just ain't so. I might add, not to look for trouble, although it seems to look for me, that less than 3/8 of a mile from there, there's another site which has gotten exponentially worse in the 16 years we've been there. The only reason I'm not jumping up and down and screaming and hollering about that one is because there has not been in a long time any illegal activity there. But since we've been there, in addition to the dead vehicles and garbage that had been there when we moved in 2009, there now are 2 boats, a tractor, 2 trucks, a sedan, and the usual Northeast Kingdom ornamentation of tires, beer cans, broken bottles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's in front of God and everybody, and people coming to see me say, what in the name of God are you living across from? And I said, well, that's the prologue. You want to see the main event? Keep going up Sand Hill Road. Yeah, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And I don't honestly see the end in sight. If you want to know about the state's, is anyone in this room aware of what the state's involvement will be, is projected to be?
I can tell you what the state's involvement has been in the past with other sites with similar concerns, and basically they never did anything.
Yeah, well, I think that's putting it in a nutshell. I talked for about half an hour with a very informative woman in the Agency of Natural Resources who said, to my mystification, I was glad I was sitting down, that Mr. Walker had applied to be covered by what was called the Healthy Homes Project, which is a state initiative paid for with federal COVID aid money. That's money that can't be yanked back. The state has it. The application was received, looked on favorably, and the state, regardless of all the other re-raw, they fully acknowledged the complications. The state appears, unless some unknown factor comes up, to be willing to spend at least $35,000 to sink a well, put in a septic system for the property at 79 Sand Hill Road. You know, I'm thinking about this. Anybody in this room would be happy to have 35K whipped on them, especially if they didn't earn it. The program is a good one. The state has been able to help 660 households, most of whom I'm sure were legitimate. And I said, well, what are you going to do about clearing all the stuff up? Is the state going to pick up that? I said, well, that's ancillary costs will be in the grant. I said, How about electrical power? Because I don't think there's enough power to drive a mound system. Well, we'll do that. I said, what about connection? What about connection to the house, or, which I didn't call it house, the residential structure? Well, if there's no bathroom there, we'll put a bathroom in.
Oh, my God.
I'm thinking, Mother of God, I'd love to have, can I have some of that too? And where does it stop?
So, and it did fail to bring up, Todd did say that he had an engineer who was working on a septic design plan.
It's a guy named Dexter LaFavor. He works for New England Consulting Engineers in Morrisville.
Okay.
I talked to him in person.
Yep.
I don't know where it stands, but the last I had heard, which was last week, was that Mr. Walker needs to execute certain documents to make this go forward. This is a permit job. There are other permits need to be issued. I'm not clear by whom, but this is a very ironic, would be a very ironic remediation of one aspect of this problem, particularly if the property being enhanced then becomes valuable, and he turns around and sells it as at profit. Thank you, taxpayers. Color means sucker. Color all of us suckers. End of sermon.
Yeah, there are a lot of programs out there to help people, and sometimes they work, and sometimes they're expensive, and sometimes the benefit is to more than just the landowner. It's to the neighborhood, it's to the town. You know,
Diana, I get that, and you have a good heart. I've known you for as long as I've been here. I don't think the community is enhanced, even if there's a mound system put in there and a well sunk. I don't think the community is improved or enhanced by this happening at a structure which has no legal right to be there. That is an open door for anybody putting up anything, living there, doing whatever they want.
what do you mean by that? You mean
What I mean is, yeah.
if they get a sewer
You
system
know,
put in?
if they put a sewer system, I'd much rather, you know, they pee in a toilet than pee in the woods like a bear or a deer. But if that basically enables two illegal buildings to stand there, I don't think that's a net gain for the community. I think that's a net loss for the community, because it says, do what you want, somebody else will bail you out.
So Goddard, I don't know that we're gonna have any great answers for you tonight.
I get that.
Yeah, and I think it's probably time, we're probably gonna need to move on with the rest of the meeting, but I have put it on the agenda for our next meeting.
Thank you.
So that we don't lose track of this, and we can talk about the greater, because this is a greater issue, I think, than just the Walker property. We've got more than one property that, you know, and I don't know that there's anything the select board can do, but at least it can be a conversation that we start. And
Can I add one thing before
Please.
you? I've been doing a little research on the subject myself and found out that there is something that RV dwellers, rich or poor, use if they don't want to take their rig over to the dumping station. There's this thing called a honey pot, where you can, there's a tank underneath the RV or the camper, whatever, and you use this call thing you can buy at the RV store, pump out into the honey pot, and then you take it down, either at Montpelier on the way to the sewer plant. Down at the west end of town, there's a place, a dumping station where people can dump things. And we had another person in town who was doing that with a zoning permit that I learned about. And so anyways, I don't know if that's what they're doing, but they should be.
I think the honey pot is what you guys saw him on a trailer.
Yeah.
On a trailer.
Yeah,
That's the honey pot.
uh-huh.
I think that's,
But it's not, they're not like taking the thing off of
it's like
the,
a portable tank. that-
yeah, they're not taking the thing off of their rig.
It looks like an enormous bedpan with a
Yeah.
2-inch
That's
duct
right.
at one end.
Okay, yeah,
Right. Yeah,
yeah.
so they just empty out their trailer into that honey pot and then they carry it to wherever they're.
Now, it would be nice to ask them, about that, if you
I
talked
did.
to them again. Oh, yeah?
I mean,
Okay.
that's how they move it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they are taking that, which is,
Yeah.
might be nice as an enforcement tool to maybe ask them to show a receipt, if they get receipts there.
Yeah, because they probably.
I can try.
That to me doesn't satisfy though that if you have somebody that does whatever they want to and you have illegal activities going on, maybe maybe the state police ought to be involved.
Well,
The
that's-
state police is not very cooperative about anything.
We've approached them, but that's another discussion.
Yeah.
We understand that.
So have you had some visitors recently?
Thank God not for several months, but
Yeah.
they come in an alternate state of awareness. And, you know, I'm not paranoid, and I have very aggressive dogs, as you know, which is a good thing. But, you know, if it's dark, how do I know who else is out there? I see somebody knock on the door, who else is out there, what do they want?
Oh,
And
God.
why are they there? And
Some of those girls are so
Pathetic.
stoned.
yeah,
It's just so sad.
yeah.
I guess they thought we were old people, we'd be really nice and give them some money or something, I don't know. But we're not that nice, we're not that rich.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry we don't have, but I do think we probably need to, I know
Yeah.
Skip is here for some email business and just need to,
Well, thank you for listening.
yeah, for sure. And like I said,
working on it.
I'll have it on the agenda for next meeting as well.
Thank you
We'll
for
keep the conversation going.
paperwork. It's very useful.
I forgot, didn't get to ask him what he found in the zoning that was of use. We did use that one part of zoning that says you can't have unregistered vehicles.
Well, maybe we can pull that out at the next meeting and,
Yeah,
and
but
look
it
at
didn't
that.
work. I mean, you know,
They have to comply, that's the
We
thing.
got
There's no enforcement.
we spent
Unless the town
$4,000.
wants to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, but on that case, we did, and it still didn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
I still think we should
Yeah.
table this for another meeting.
It's a hard situation to resolve.
Yeah. And would either of you be upset if we let Skip go now so that,
Notice I was falling asleep?
say again?
You noticed I was falling asleep?
I saw you check your watch. That was my cue to like,
No, I was just curious where we were.
all right.
So my turn?
It is.
Okay, as I mentioned in the email that I sent out to many people, the good news is we got the emails from RV Technologies. The bad news is configuring them on your computer is not easy. And I want to thank Lily for helping getting Brandy's email for delinquent tax collector configured. I was able to fight my way through getting the one on my own PC configured. And based on those two experiences, Alex Peltz and I were able to get his configured on Sunday morning, but it's not exactly the easiest process. So I have here in my handy notebook an envelope that's got each of your names on it, which is your user ID, your password, and instructions on how to do this. But as Chris said, the next meeting is a workshop meeting, and if everybody can bring their laptops, and do we know if Lizzie uses a laptop?
She does.
Okay, if she brings her laptop, it's gonna probably take, it could be very quickly per laptop, it could take 15, 20 minutes per laptop. And if Lily's here, Lily has extensive experience with Microsoft 365, which is now known as M365, both on the web and on the desktop.
Okay, great.
So she's been a help.
And then how difficult is it, once you get it configured on your laptop, to be able to get it configured? Is that the right term for your phone? For one's phone?
Pretty easy.
Pretty easy, great.
Yeah.
Okay,
Does
there's
that-
your answer.
Because often is
No,
that's
I
the,
did not say that.
yeah.
Lily said that.
And
I
how
can
about-
show you guys.
And how about my desktop?
Your desktop is the same as the laptop, and by then I hope to be an expert.
Okay.
The library is, what's his name? The new trustee in the library that's got.
Dave.
Dave just picked up the ball for the library. He's gonna do all that. He said, I've got this, no problem. Again, he's got experience similar to Lily's with M365 and collaborative processing. I'm supposed to go down to RV Tech at some point in the very near future, so they can show me how to do collaborative processing, and I believe you'll understand how to do that too, right?
Maybe?
Maybe, okay. So I know Dave does, but anyway, we're moving in the right direction. I think I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So hopefully by, beginning of July, end of July, we'll be through all this and we'll be working.
Thank you for doing it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
That brings up another subject. Diane and I were talking on the phone, and the subject that's came up is, okay, if someone working on a town committee or doing some town function says, I want a town email because I don't want to use my personal email, who approves that? Because that's a cost to the town. Okay, the cheapest it is $6 a month. The most expensive it is 13 bucks a month. Do I approve that? Do we come to the select board to approve it? I'm not looking for an answer here, but it's something we have to think about. How do I handle that in the future?
Well, we are supposed to, and one of the things that's on the agenda for that workshop meeting is that we need to draft a policy for town emails, and that, I would think that would be part of the policy, that whatever we would,
Okay.
however we end
And
up
I can
drafting
be
it.
part of that discussion.
Yeah.
So I will plan to attend the workshop meeting on Tuesday, which is the Tuesday after Memorial Day,
27th.
27th. And we can table that, and table this whole discussion until then. Unless you want your envelopes, you want to try this on your own.
Nope.
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 Hey, it was all your idea.
I'm all for it.
Gracious.
Yeah,
Eh.
So we'll
it's
try.
my least favorite thing to do is sit behind a screen.
Okay, any other questions?
No, thank you for waiting.
No, it's great.
Yeah,
And your,
that was
your
quick.
church
We're gonna make up
says-
some time here. Got a
I
Celtics
can
game
do
today.
anything, don't read that.
Yeah, really, you're crazy to walk around with that.
You have to see what it says on the back, it's an IBM advertisement.
Oh, okay.
I is the name, the red
Oh,
I
okay.
is the name of the IBM.
Oh, okay.
You're right, I'm crazy to walk around without my shirt. I will see everybody.
Bye.
Take care.
Thanks again.
Thanks for Bridge for that.
Robin, finally, thanks for waiting.
Sure. We have received from Washington County Sheriff's the new contract,
Oh,
which is gonna go up $6 per hour. So it's going from $66 up to, $60 up to $66. And the mileage is gonna go up 3 cents per mile plus 10 cents per mile. And the extra 10 cents per mile, she told me, is so they can cover the cost of equipping their cruisers.
Okay. So, can I ask what they do traffic control mostly for us? Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that a regularly occurring activity, or how does that all happen?
Yeah, from my understanding, it's a regularly occurring activity. We,
How often do we get invoices for that?
once a month. We get invoices about once a month.
And generally, how many hours are they here patrolling in Woodbury?
I've seen anywhere from 3, 4 to 7 or 8. There's actually one in the check warrant today as well. But it seems like they're usually spending 5 to 10 hours, I would say, a month around here.
and they don't come out on a regular basis because they want to be sneaky about it.
Sure.
So
But do we, I guess in this is a contract, and is there like a minimum or a maximum number of hours per month that in that contract that they?
There is a number of hours in the contract.
There is, okay.
well, there's a number of dollars. I don't know if we've ever had a number of hours. One year we tried to give them more money and they didn't use it, so.
Line 10, the department agrees to furnish deputies for blank hours per week
So
on a regular basis.
we fill
We
that
don't
in?
use, I don't think we do.
Yeah.
For a contract amount of blank dollars. There's an original and a copy that both need to be signed.
I guess my question is, and I don't expect anybody's gonna do this, but if all of a sudden, they're doing 40, 50, not that they're going to, 60 hours a week, that's different than like 10 hours a week. And we don't have any expectations.
You can set the number of hours that you want them to be here. That's
Yeah.
part of what the contract's about.
So they do want us to fill that in.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
But there have been several years when we did not fill in that blank.
Yeah.
We just fill in the $5,000 and they,
Well, all the
Spend it or
years that
not.
I was on the select board, we did fill in the hour amount.
Okay, well,
and they didn't always live up to
did
it.
it work?
They didn't always live up to it. There was staffing shortages, blah, blah, blah. So,
Skip, you wanted, you
Oh,
had
yeah, when I was on the board, you know, I can corroborate what Michael said. We always filled in the hours.
and did you have like a recommended number of hours? Was it 10 hours a week or?
No, not really. I don't think we had any standards to go by in terms of,
Changed it, whatever you felt?
there was one year when we were seeking more policing in Woodbury for different reasons. And we did
Probably 2
request,
hours.
yeah, we did request more hours and they just weren't able to live up to it. So they may have better staffing than they did back when we were
Yeah, their complaint has always been that they don't have enough people.
Yeah.
So if we were to divide $5,000 by 52 weeks and
6 hour, $5,000, 52, 10 hours a week.
Is that 10 hours a week?
The other mini kickback is that they do share the fines that the town does get money back from the fines that they.
So, do we want to include the number of hours that we,
I don't care. I don't think it matters, but
doesn't matter?
There should be old contracts that would have the number of hours. I can't remember what it was.
So there, and then they want 66 an hour? Yeah, okay. I mean, it seems to make sense.
plus mileage, so.
Want to give them a range, 6 to 10 hours a week or something like that?
Fine.
So I guess we would need a motion.
Okay. I'll move that we sign the contract for the Washington County Sheriff's Department to provide speed control.
All right. It's just the two of us, no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Today is the 12th, right? We need your signature on there too.
Here's another one.
This is our copy though, right?
No, this contracted amount is the $5,000 that we voted on, not $66 an hour.
All right, you can change that. Thank you. Oh, you must skip.
Yeah. So the radar speed signs that are in town compile traffic data, including, you know, speeds, time of day, traffic volumes. So if you wanted to ask the sheriff's department to be there at a specific time, you could do a study or just download the information from the speed signs, it's Bluetooth enabled. And you could get, you know, the time of day when the speeders are most prevalent. Just an FYI.
Yeah. That would be smart.
How to download that information?
Pardon me?
We were having trouble downloading that information.
Yeah, I think Tim Higgins was able to do it.
Okay.
I was able to do it. But maybe the road crew could be able to do it.
Laura Daly could do it.
Yep. Yeah, right.
Laura could do it. Maybe she could teach Peter.
But anyhow, that information is available.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Or at least provide them with the ability to look at it, right?
Robin?
Yes, Ed Dumas, our animal control person, called us today,
and said that he had taken another trip to Old Quarry Road, to Wobbles.
what?
Wobble.
Oh, okay.
And Mrs. got a little unruly, so he has handed it over to the state police now.
Oh,
So if we get any calls on warbles, it's to go to the state police.
okay.
Is this for dogs or horses?
Dogs,
Dogs.
big white dogs.
Oh, yeah, okay. I know which one that is. Yep.
Yep.
All right.
And since Pam has sent out the reminder notices for dog licenses not being done, we have gotten 46 of them
Oh,
licensed.
Great.
So we'll be sending out a second round of reminder. And Thursday night, I went to the rail trail meeting. Randy Cleveland was there from the quarry.
yeah.
And we got talking about granite. And I said, can I show you something? And I took him out where that hunk of granite came off the step, which I still have.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, I can get that back on there for you. He said, with epoxy and maybe some type of a granite screw. And he did it today.
Oh,
Great.
Yep. And he told me if there's any problems with it, just to let him know. And I said, you betcha.
What was his last name?
Cleveland.
Cleveland, okay, right, okay.
And I will be out of the office on Wednesday for training again. It is for the BCA.
oh, yeah.
Yep,
You sent us that.
I signed up for that, so that's Wednesday. And curiosity question on my part, the tree warden, does it have to be a town resident?
I don't know.
I don't know who else would want to.
I was just asking, I mean, seems
Yeah,
our
I don't
animal
know.
control is not a town resident.
Yeah, that's right.
Probably not.
Okay, thank you.
Lots of inquiries about those
No.
different volunteer positions, especially the town health officer, right?
No, nobody's
knocking
chomping
at
at the bit.
Can't wait.
Oh, well.
All right. I had high hopes for that front porch forum post, Diana.
Yeah, I know, I did a great job, but I put it on Facebook too.
That's it?
That's it.
All right, thanks. And we'll move on to the town treasurer's report. Lily?
Great, yeah. So broad overview, income for the last 2 weeks, cash receipts total is $7,134.04. Majority of this is from delinquent taxes at $5,728.80. And then the remainder from town hall rental, land recordings, dog licenses, and records at $1,405.24. Our total expenses over the past 2 weeks for payroll have been $9,758.07. And accounts payable, $33,473.10. The majority of that chunk really being our quarterly payments to the fire department. Other than that, Diana, I wanted to follow up from last week about that $3,500 from the state in regards to repairs. We have received that, and it's been allocated to miscellaneous funds in the highway fund, or miscellaneous revenue in the highway fund. I think that was the only follow-up from last week. I had mentioned about potentially investing some of our money into CDs. So I just want to follow up on that. My recommendation is that we take our reappraisal fund and stick it in a 12-month CD. We were able to get a APR of 3.78% with Union Bank. Potentially over 1 year, this could bring us just over $5,000. I made a little one of these too, if you guys want to look at these while I explain it. And then after talking to Skip, I've decided a more conservative approach to mitigation funds, taking probably about 200K and putting it in a 6-month CD. We were able to get a 4.1% APR on that, and we'll hopefully make a little over $4,000 after 6 months.
And the beginning of the reappraisal work is sometime,
Our contract says that we have to start paying monthly fees in July of next year.
next year, okay, so we'll just barely make it. Good.
So do you need approval for that this evening?
I'm not sure, I don't think so. But I am new at this, so if this is something that I need approval for, no.
Nope.
It's a reserve fund, I'm presuming? The reappraisal fund is a reserve?
Yeah,
So, being a reserve fund, you only can use it for reappraisal. It's like the HERF fund, you can only use it to buy trucks and whatever else it needs. So as long as you use it as a reserve fund, for what it's for, you know, you can put it. in.
yeah, it's not like we're spending it.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, so I think you're fine,
perfect.
yeah,
Great.
absolutely.
I think it's a good idea.
Thank you.
So then the money that you earn off the interest has to go back into that fund?
You don't think so?
That's a good question.
My understanding is that
I would think
that is
so.
not the case, but
I don't know, maybe.
You're making the money
find it.
off that fund, I would think it would have to go back in there.
seems like it needs a little bit more
Yeah, that would be a question that I can't answer.
Yeah.
No.
into.
The LCT might be.
It's a good question, Robin.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Skip.
I have something to add on to Lily's report. Because of Lily's persistence, it finally paid off and Woodbury is now a registered entity in Sandville.
Nice work.
Exciting, yeah, wow.
What was the magic?
I think I called 3 times.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah, 3 times was the charm, redoing it again and essentially just re-inputting information we had already put in that for some reason was not registering.
And is it the
It's
same,
all
it's the
under
same
my
number?
control. I believe so,
It looks like.
but
It is the same.
it's the same number, okay, yeah.
Really?
Nice job, both of you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
That's a big deal.
a long birth.
Anything else?
That's it?
All right. I had, on the last meeting, I don't know if you want to approve bills and payroll orders, if you want to kind of move on, and we'll do that at the end of the meeting.
Yeah, I don't know, I stuck it on there because it was on there that way the last,
Well, I think it makes sense in the work meeting to do
Yeah,
it at that point, but I think at the end. All right. Thanks, Lily. Skip.
So you all should have handouts
Yeah.
of tonight's meeting. So the project updates as of May 12th for disaster 4720 PR-BP, which is the July 2023 floods. All the projects are obligated, and I believe we received all the monies for those projects. And they're now in the pending grant completion phase. And that is when all the projects are completed, including the 2 mitigation projects. There'll be a meeting and I'll have to write a report indicating that all the scopes of work have been met and the project should be closed out. So that'll be upcoming in the next 2 or 3 months. And again, a recovery transition meeting will be scheduled between the Woodbury points of contact, Danielle, myself, and the program delivery manager, and it'll end the disaster 4720 of July 2023. So that's in the process of being gone, which is good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Long time coming.
Yeah, so I also put a screenshot of today's grants portal information, and this is a summary of DR 4720. So the thing you should look at on the cost summary is the next to last line item. The federal share that they paid us so far is $1.22 million. Non-federal share, which is comprised of the state of Vermont share and our share, is $131,000 and change. So that's only payable by the state when these projects are complete. So they want to see the total project expenditures, and then they'll kick in their 7.8%. So bottom line, Woodbury's final share for that disaster in 2023 will be 2.2% of the total cost.
It's pretty good.
It's really good. Really good. But it gets better. Okay. So for the July 2024 disaster 4820R-DT, the three projects which are comprised of the 11 damages in the town have all been obligated. And obligated means that the feds have agreed that our damage descriptions and scopes of work have been accepted, and that the funds have been transferred from FEMA to the state. Now, what's up to the state to do, the state has to send out these forms, which is a financial report form, which I signed. So they haven't done that as of yet. So I just got an email a week and a half ago indicating that these projects have been obligated. And that's a good thing. So I can see that this 2024, July 2024 disaster will be wrapped up before the 2023 disaster.
Wow.
Because there are fewer disasters and we have no mitigation projects outstanding, so I think this should be wrapped up by August.
Great.
Everything
Oh,
done.
jeez. Great.
So again, if you look at the summary, again, this is a screenshot from today. Federal share is $80,000 of the 107,749. And because this disaster didn't have the magnitude of the 2023 disaster, federal government is paying 75% of the cost. The state share will be 12.5%, and Woodbury's share will be 12.5%. With the others, the federal government paid 90%, and what did the state pay? 7.8%, and Woodbury paid 2.2%.
So we'll be on the hook for like 13 grand or something like that?
Yeah.
14 grand?
Yeah, and so that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. That's great.
So again, as of today, they have not issued these forms, and as soon as they issue these forms, these financial report forms, I'll sign them, and that'll free up the money to go to Lilly. Category Z, administrative costs, we haven't come to terms on that with FEMA, but that'll happen in the next 2 weeks. So FEMA will reimburse up to 5% of the sign cost, which is about $5,300. I think to date, for this particular disaster, I think Category Z costs are around $2,000. You know, that's from Danielle and I.
Really?
Working on this.
Jeez.
Yeah, so,
What a deal.
well, you know.
You guys.
You work and you put in your time, so there'll be some excess, which one of the gentlemen at the state of Vermont says, don't leave any excess in Category Z, but I don't know how to do that
Huh.
without being, So, general FEMA information, this is always a treat. Woodbury has been reassigned from FEMA's Washington DC team to Region 1, to the Region 1 group in Boston, Mass.
Wow.
And that's not only Woodbury, but it's the entire state of Vermont.
Makes sense.
And again, we've been assigned yet another program delivery manager. So this makes number 7 that we've been reassigned. So, he seems like a nice guy, and we're just working through some issues. Okay, so that's it for the FEMA part of my presentation. Woodbury mitigation projects, we have excess mitigation funds, which Lilly is reinvesting. And so a working group consisting of Michael Gray, Alfie, and myself identified 7 locations, for road work. And these locations include replacing 3 culverts on County Road, 1 on Dog Pond Road. The road work includes ditching on East Hill Road and bank stabilization on Cabot Road, and in-stream debris cleanup and landscaping in Buck Lake Brook in Woodbury Village. So again, some of this work is going to require permitting. And I believe there's a gentleman from A&R
We
coming.
have an appointment, I think it's June 5th, with Jaron Borg, who's a stream specialist for our district, to view the sites.
I know there was a question whether or not the existing permit for work in Buck Lake Brook was still viable. Do we know if it is?
I don't think it is. We had a stream permit for the Valley Lake Road here, and that ended at the end of 2024. So I have a feeling that the permit in the stream also,
Were there 2 separate permits for the 2 bridge projects?
I don't know anything about.
Stream
the-
alteration?
Total separate
What?
projects.
Total, yeah, okay, I figured that.
I don't know
yeah.
about those.
Separate.
But for the Valley Lake Road, the culvert, that will require a new permit, because the time lapse for the original one has run out. So that could be true of the stream.
Okay. Some of this work could be started if we have the permits. Because I'll be, depending upon the culverts on County Road, there are a couple of them that might require engineering studies, H&H studies.
I have made requests for the 2 culverts on the far end of County Road, like Greenwood Lake, for H&H studies.
You have requested?
Yes,
Very
requested. The little form to fill out.
I'm sorry, you requested the H&H?
Yes.
So that work might exceed our $8,000 bogey for purchasing. So we'll have to go out for an RFP.
For the H&H?
No, for the
No.
work.
For the whole project? Okay, yeah.
The H&H studies, V-Trans does those at no cost.
Okay.
So they did, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. They estimate the cost?
They do the H&H
Yeah.
studies at no cost.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, okay.
But as they did the H&H studies for the bridges on Town Highway 23 and 24, they put together a rough scope of work, and I think they gave 3 different options in which you could mitigate the flooding in those 2
Yeah.
bridges. So I'm hoping with the H&H studies, they'll do the same thing. Give us some options on how to remedy the flooding there, and utilizing that, turn that into an RFP for each location.
So going back to your earlier point / question about some of these projects, you said if we had permits, we could get going right away.
Sure.
How do we go about, what are the next steps for getting the permit? Is that a select board?
That's the meeting on.
That's what
June
Jaron
5th.
Borg will.
That's June 5th. Got it.
So we got that.
Yeah.
He approves it, he would just go back to his office, write out a permit, and we're moving.
Oh, great.
So a lot like the one on Buck Lake Brook would be simple. It's already been permitted, there's already, he has all the information already because the state did work there. We've had a permit there. It should be fast.
He's given us a permit also for the Woodbury Road project for that. So there is one thing I want to mention. There still is the possibility, it sounds, and I don't quite, not totally confident that that will happen, but the Emergency Watershed Protection Program with the work on the bank for Cabot Road, Buck Lake Brook. They're waiting for a waiver to get their funds unfrozen so that they can do these projects.
Yeah.
So there is that possibility, in which case there is for Buck Lake Brook, Cabot Road, there is a fairly substantial town match for that, 25% for the implementation, which we might want to consider some of this extra money for.
Well, we can put together a budget
Yeah.
And, you know, utilizing the $500 and something thousand dollars that would be left over. Lily and I can get together and put together a budget. And,
Yeah. The one concern I have with this project, the Emergency Watershed Protection Program, is overseen by USDA, not FEMA. It's still a federal program, and I asked them, and I have the emails on my computer, will this be a, will we be getting in trouble using leftover FEMA
Federal money
obligated
to
money?
match.
And they said no,
Really?
that there wouldn't be a problem, but it's sort of like FEMA to pass judgment
I'm not
on
gonna
it.
ask.
Okay, all right. So,
Yeah, what else are we working on? There was a big no-no about using federal money to match federal
well,
money.
that one, the federal money was totally thrown
It
in the
was,
garbage
yeah.
can.
All the emails that I've sent to FEMA, making certain that any excess obligated funds are usable for mitigation projects, indicate that we can use them for mitigation projects. They didn't qualify their answer by saying, you can't use it for USDA, you can't use
Yeah.
it for this. It's just a blanket for mitigation. So, you know, someone's definition of mitigation might be different from another's. But, you know, they didn't specify you can't use it for
Yeah.
USDA or any other federal program. So,
So it's likely that sizable match will be able to use the excess.
well, they didn't say no.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Michael, can you remind me, how big is that project? Is that,
Well, I think the town match is around $25,000, so, and that's 25%.
Okay.
They'll do all of the design work, that's part of the grant, and they'll cover 75% of the implementation.
okay.
So
Is that the program where you were told that the Regional Planning Commission might be willing to do some of the like RFP kind of administration? Or was that another program?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I
that's
mean, we
gonna
would
be,
have to put out an RFP for that, and whether the USDA may help us with that,
Yeah.
or the Regional Planning Commission. It was the Regional Planning Commission that originally proposed these two grants as a way to help deal with the flooding in the village. So I believe that yes, they would be willing to help us with the RFP.
Yeah, especially if they're doing the design.
Well, the Regional Planning Commission isn't, but USDA is. So, yeah, so one or the other probably
but
would
once the
help us.
design is done, that's pretty much,
Right, they got all
What
the
you need.
information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically just, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was a guy that came on a Zoom
So
meeting.
that would have been
Who
Brian
mentioned
Boyd,
that?
who is the Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah.
And he's the one that oversees this emergency watershed protection program and helping towns with it. He doesn't oversee the program, but he's like a connector between the town and USDA.
Thanks.
Moving on, proposed town office building projects that have been identified and include basement waterproofing, window replacement, roof replacements. So, and we also, I think, talked about drainage around the town offices. So I sent out 3 or 4 RFPs to the select board for basement waterproofing, window replacement, and roof replacement, you know, to look at and see if you can glean anything from them.
They shouldn't, but, I mean, the roof will be more than 8,000, but the windows shouldn't be.
Oh, they will be.
You're kidding me. Wow.
With the special windows.
Yeah.
Hurricane proof.
They're hurricane-proof windows.
Oh,
They're more
yeah,
expensive.
okay, they're mitigation windows.
Yeah, everything has to be, quote, with the title mitigation. So
Ah,
windows,
okay.
roof shingles, and the way they're nailed to the roof, and underlayment and all that stuff, so. You know, so the select board has the final authority to approve any of this work. So you just have to let me know if you want me to move forward. I can put together an RFP. If you want me to do that, I could work, Chris, with you and Lizzie to put together an RFP. That's what I used to do.
Would you be willing to work on that with us at the next meeting?
Well, when is that?
It is the day after Memorial Day.
It's like the 27th,
I'll
I
have to
think.
see if I'm.
Okay. I have it on our agenda to
27th.
look at, do some of the estimating
Okay,
for
yeah.
that.
Because I think we had talked about putting it out as one RFP in hopes that a general contractor might bid on it.
Really?
Sub out the work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a little more attractive, I think, for us and for someone.
Yeah. But we had also talked about drainage going around the building. And I don't know if that would.
Could
fall
be.
It could?
Yeah, it could.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
any general contractor could hire a excavator to do that kind of work.
I don't know any.
A little teeny-weeny excavator.
So I'll be happy to work on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that all makes sense to do it now. Would you agree, Diana? Is to at least start the process and then,
Well, yeah, because we want to spend this money.
yeah.
We don't want it hanging around.
Is there any way we could have it happen faster, like by splitting the projects up and looking for window contractors to do windows?
It's out
And
of my scope. I don't know.
I mean, we could.
Defer to Chris.
I think it's gonna be, I mean, maybe it will make sense to like divide it up into like usable portions, like, you know, or,
I mean, the roof, we didn't get any interest on our RFP for the town hall roof. We still gotta, maybe we can do them both. I mean, they won't both be payable by FEMA, or maybe they could.
yeah, this roof. is town
Yeah,
hall.
maybe they
Yeah.
could.
Yeah,
So maybe include the town hall
Yeah.
as part of this process.
I kind of think that it might be a little bit more attractive to,
You've got a lot of different professionalities there.
yeah.
You got somebody doing a roof, somebody doing windows, and somebody doing underground. Those are, it's hard to find one person that can do all of those.
Right,
And to find a general contractor who has all those subs, who wants to bid on a little relatively small project like that, yeah, I don't know.
Right, and plus this time of year, contractors
Right,
they're
right.
up there getting booked, so
Yeah.
I think if we just bid off whatever, if we could find a roofer, great, we get that part done. If we could find somebody to do the excavating, you know, just take it in
Sure.
smaller chunks, because then you're spending at least some of the money, instead of getting bogged down on trying to get it all.
get it all in
at
one
once.
package, okay. I can be convinced of that,
Whatever.
yeah. All right. Let us know if that next meeting works for you and then we can,
Okay, that's Tuesday night.
it's a Tuesday only because Memorial Day is Monday. Otherwise it would have been Monday.
All right, so we can talk about that. And the last page is something I put together. It's for force account labor. And this is a FEMA document that I offered in order for us to compile any hours that are utilized. And in this case, this is hours for the road crew. And so this is the form that FEMA is comfortable with. So in the off chance we should be audited, they would take a look at this and say, okay, you quantified your hours, and the hourly rate, the total cost. There's a project title, there's a lat long, so everything is on this document. So not only should this be utilized for the road crew, but anyone who touches one of these projects who wants to charge administrative costs for it. And that could be Lily, could be Robin, anyone, it could be Select Board, Michael, it could be you. Naturally, it could be Alfie, for sure. But this is the form that I would hope we could use moving forward for any hours associated with the mitigation project.
So is Alfie also the road crew foreman in addition to being the road commissioner?
You'll have to ask Alfie
I think it's just,
Well, you put road crew foreman down there,
now. I
so,
did.
this is their name, then there's
I
the
know.
job title.
I know.
Huh.
It said, call him the foreman and he's the road commissioner, so I just.
Got it.
I think they're very similar.
Yeah, I see.
I am.
Late for supper.
No, never call me late for something. Well, I'm appointed as road commissioner.
Yeah.
I mean, to keep it consistent. But I don't, as far as FEMA's concerned, I don't
Okay.
think they care. The main
I don't want
thing is-
you to
the
be
main thing is
insulted.
The name, Alfred Laird, is what they care about. More because I'm gonna be in charge of this project and
Yep.
tracking all the numbers.
So all you folks have to do is just manually put the numbers.
And then you'll type it up nice and pretty.
Summary.
Better be on
Well,
those
I haven't seen my
spreadsheets.
handwriting lately.
Let me see. So anyhow, anyone who touches any mitigation project should fill out one of these.
All right.
In order to keep, the accounts square. Because you don't want to be charging to a general fund when you're working on a mitigation project. So, at least, is that right, Lily?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and could you potentially send me a copy of this and I can print a whole bunch out and have them in the office for anybody?
Would you like a blank copy?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, the blank wouldn't have the local names, right? Wouldn't have.
No, we wouldn't have any of this stuff.
So I understood you to say that it would go for Lily and Robin too, any administrative work that they did on this would.
Anyone who touches it, Michael, if Michael wants
Yeah.
to charge, if we're going out, I don't know what Michael's liver rate is, I don't care. As long as it's quantified and we can substantiate any hours and costs that we have in case we have an audit. I don't believe we'll have an audit, but this will be backup just in case.
Okay, great. As always, super thorough, thank you.
Any questions?
Thanks, Skip. Alfie.
Okay, it's been a while.
You've got those
But nothing, not a lot has
bibs, right?
changed. So we are about done grading, first time around.
Good.
Of course, it's rained a lot.
Yeah.
Some of the roads come down, so they're gonna need it again. So we're gonna keep after that as long as we have the weather for it. We are starting to get geared up for some of the projects like ditching and changing culverts and that kind of stuff. The highest on the list are the 2 complaints that we've had. I can never think of the name of the road, but the little short one in the village here, Ainsworth. We put a little graded it, put a little gravel on it today. Tomorrow I'm gonna try to get that culvert going and clean the ditches.
Okay.
So that will be put to rest, hopefully, if we've done it right. Which I
Nope.
highly doubt.
I don't think so.
That's on the agenda for this week. Other one on Cabot Road, I've looked at it again. It's still not big enough, but it's actually clogged on the upper end. So I'm gonna attempt to just flush it,
Okay.
and that will alleviate ripping up the driveway and replacing it.
Okay. Did they get back to you? They would prefer not to do
They have
that?
not gotten back to me.
Okay.
They're hesitating, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna try to fix it on our own record
Yeah.
and
Do you-
look behind us.
Do you want me to touch base or you to touch base one more time just to make sure, like say, hey, we're gonna fix it, clean it out and put it back and just.
Yeah, I can.
But this would be the opportunity, one more time, to do it differently, if they would like to.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
Okay.
Yeah, I'll touch base one more time before I show up with the excavator.
Can't hurt. Yeah,
But in the whole process, I'll fix their stone wall
great.
and I'll put a little gravel in their driveway so that it's much more smooth than it is now.
Yeah,
I mean, it was caused by our water,
Yeah.
town's water, so I feel like we should definitely do it.
yeah,
But since the snow is gone and the ice is gone, I've been able to get a better look at it, and it's clogged at the very upper end of it, down in like 3 or 4 feet. So I'm hoping that just the flush of water will take care of it.
So how do you do that?
We've got a tank,
Oh,
and I'll just fill it with water and
Oh.
just kind of gravity it in there.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll wash out the loose gravel and the smaller stuff. So it's a hope. Like I said, it's still not a big enough culvert for there, but
it's an 18-inch, is that
it's a 15 now.
15?
It should be an 18,
Yeah, okay,
just because of the amount of water that comes down there.
yeah,
But being that they're not really interested in cooperating, I think we need to move on to a different option and put it behind us.
sure. I think one more phone call is a good idea, just to make
Yeah.
sure they haven't changed
Yeah,
their
just
mind or just off the radar, because
Sure.
if they decide that they would like to take us up on the offer to replace it, then,
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
that's-
I've done it, it's like, I call them beginning of the week, and then I call them at the end of the week, and
oh, okay,
so far I haven't, I've talked with.
I didn't realize that,
But I
okay,
haven't gotten any, yes, let's do that, where can I buy a culvert, or can you help
Yeah.
me buy a culvert, or there's been none of that, so.
Okay.
I just keep thinking that they're not interested in doing that,
okay,
but they haven't come out and said that either.
all right,
So I think one more call, one more attempt, and then I'm gonna fix it. The less permanent way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks for taking care of that.
Yeah, so we are on summer schedule now. So we don't work Fridays and we're working 4 10-hour days. So that seems to be working.
and you had a little landslide? A landslide?
We had a rock slide.
Rock slide, yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
last Sunday
yeah,
evening, and it created a little havoc.
Yeah.
Road, as you can imagine.
yeah. What'd you do with all that rock?
I've got it stored on the corner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we buy a lot of
Yeah,
riprap
yeah, really,
in
yeah.
flood situations, so
Sure.
I think we better
Yeah,
say.
good, yeah.
There was a lot of people with their hand up. I'll take that.
Oh, sure, yeah, look at that rock.
But
Right,
we
No.
kept it, so we can
Good.
use it, reuse it somewhere. You know, around the culvert or around the bank or somewhere where the water's washing the road or so. But yeah, you just never know. I mean, it rained a little bit, but not enough to create that. The ledge was just ready to give away. And
Yeah,
thankfully, nobody was passing through at
Yeah.
that particular time.
yeah,
You know? And it was dark, so we went out that night and put cones up so that people wouldn't run into it. And then we got up the next morning, before the buses went, actually.
whoa,
Yeah,
great,
Yeah,
that would've been hell.
they were.
Could a car fit through there?
I think, I think
Yeah.
you could. Because
Could've,
it's kind of
yeah.
on a corner, so
Yeah.
the road's a little bit wider.
Yeah,
But
not the bus.
coming south on County Road, it's right on a corner. So you come around this corner and bang, there's
Yeah.
that big pile
Okay.
of rocks, so I was nervous about.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting, that Laura said that she was out picking, those fiddleheads. And a friend of hers stopped and told her about the rock slide, and she went home and got Pete, and they.
Yeah, we all
That's
kinda
kinda-
ended up
we're-
there.
yeah.
You know, I didn't end
And
up
by the time
calling
he got there,
in
yeah.
because I got notified of it, so I went. And then I got a text from Timmy saying that he was already
He was
there.
there,
So we all responded. So,
yeah, it worked,
yeah,
nice.
yeah. So, yeah, I think, you know, with all these projects that we just talked about, I think that we need to, well, hopefully get them organized as soon as we can. Like, the permits, getting the, getting H&H's, which is sort of out of our control, but anything that we can start on, we should absolutely start on, because the summer is only so long, and as we all know. And we've still got a bunch of regular maintenance that we haven't got to the last 2 years because of the floods, so we got plenty to do. So, any questions? I will. Rob, go for it. It's always you.
Is there any way you can smooth out our parking lot?
The town clerks?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a way, of course.
How about this one out here?
That one's on the list too, but it seems like every time we're working, that it's full of
Yep.
cars. So that would have to be like on a weekend or very early in the morning.
Yep.
But yes, it's on my agenda. I know it's bad. It needs to be. There's that one big hollow spot that holds water, and that's just only gonna get worse, so.
Yep.
We need to bring material in for that, or?
We might bring a load of material to fill that. It'd just be easier to, rather than steal from the rest of the driveway to fill that in. But, yeah, no, the whole thing needs it. If I do it, I would do the whole thing. But quite frankly, the grader's been quite busy just keeping the main roads, in the shape they're in.
Yep.
But it's definitely on my agenda.
Well, the office parking lot, you can't do that with a grader, can you?
Yeah.
You can? Okay.
As long as there's no cars there.
Yeah, as long as there's no cars. Yeah. Which
And we gotta
might-
figure out who that red one belongs
I was
to.
gonna say.
It's still
yeah,
there?
that's
Oh.
Been there a couple days now.
Yeah,
Over
it's
a
there on the
week.
weekend. Oh, really?
Over a
Oh,
week.
really?
Oh.
Yep.
So I think with that, we need to form a policy. If it's there for X number of days, it's gone, it gets towed. It's taken our space, it's taken our ability to maintain, especially in winter. It's not a free parking lot.
And with Wednesdays now, the listers are in there also.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's 3 extra vehicles,
yeah.
plus this one that's,
I mean, I don't wanna compare Little Woodbury to Down Street by any means, but if you park somewhere down street and leave it for 3 or 4 days, it's gonna get towed. And you may not even get notified about it. You're
I thought we
looking
were
for
gonna
the
get
car.
some signs, no overnight parking.
Yeah, it was talked about. Don't start skipping. It's on.
That's my next question though. Yeah,
Speaking of signs,
that's a great question.
They're here.
They're here.
Stock.
They're in stock.
Here. Now we gotta just get them up on the
okay.
road.
Let me know. Because I have a shroud to put on. I've already bought the deer.
Sorry about the beer.
I bought a new motorcycle, so I can just be there.
Yeah, so I gotta track down the information, as to location of those signs. Which I think I have, I just gotta dig it out.
Find
This
it
is
in your emails.
the bicycle signs.
Bicycle, I
If
have.
you don't have it, I have it.
No, I thought,
Okay, well, maybe you can
I'd gladly
come
install it.
along and, we'll install them, you just point the finger where. No, we'll figure it
and
out.
get some of those little
I'll get
flags.
Michael Sadler and he and I will go out and give you a
Get it
hand.
out. But yes, no, they're in, the posts are here, the signs, the head signs, everything is here, it's just a matter of doing it every time.
All right.
Yeah, I guess other than that, I don't have anything.
So can you hang around for the executive session, Alfie?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, report, does that mean reports of investigating complaints?
No, that's me.
No, we did that before.
Okay.
All right, so I guess we're gonna open some lawn mowing.
yes, this
Bids?
is one, and this envelope has 2 smaller envelopes inside it
Okay.
from different people.
Okay, and one of our bidders is watching up there.
Yes.
I got what you think.
Yes. Yeah.
What time would be a good time to call? 6:30, 7?
What do you say?
Those that have in your hand right now are the same person.
This is two of them.
Right.
Okay.
One came in through an email and the other one they dropped off
Got it,
in
got it.
the night box.
Got it. Thanks for the clarification. But they should be the same.
I think so, I did not compare them, that's your job.
So you told them that you wouldn't accept an email, so they sent it in writing, is that what happened?
Oh, it just showed up in the night box.
Oh, okay, all right, you didn't say. Okay, okay, so
You have both of them open?
I've got Tatro Outdoor Maintenance from Greensboro, 5 Woodbury, in-town mowing and trim, $120 for all 5 per mowing or as needed. Cleanup, $60 per hour.
Wait, so it's 125 for Tetros per mowing?
120
120 for all 5
for
properties?
5, yeah,
For 5 properties.
per mowing.
And then,
I think in the,
what was the one-time cleanup?
$60 an hour.
I'm not sure how that is, $60 per hour for the one-time cleanup.
And then, spring cleanup, this is from Anderson Williams. Spring cleanup of all properties and weekly mowing and trimming of all properties. Proposed project budget, spring cleanup would be 2-man crew at $50 per man hour, and mowing and trimming would be $125 a week.
So that's the 125 per 5 properties, is that what that means?
Well, yeah, the 5
Okay.
properties is what we
Yeah.
had in the,
Yep. And then they were at,
125 per weekly per mowing and $50 per man hour, for a 2-man crew for cleanup.
so $100 an hour? No,
Well, I guess, but it would take half as much.
You gotta compare that to the first bid.
Yeah,
at $60 an hour. Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out whether that means this $50, what is it?
Right.
50, 2-man crew at $50 per man hour, that's $100 an hour. Is that what that means?
If we've got 2 in there.
Yeah, at $50 an hour. It's not 2 guys at $25 an hour, right? It's
Right.
2 guys at 50 an hour, so $100 an hour.
You could ask the person, I mean, they're here remotely, for clarification.
Mr. Williams, would you mind clarifying?
What was that?
Sorry, we just got you off the mute. Just clarification, for the spring cleanup, it's a 2-man crew at $50 per man hour. Is that?
Yeah, so that's $100 an hour for a 2-man crew, or
Yep.
if it's just me working, it's just $50 an hour. So
Got it.
which kind of means that it could take less time.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
kind of hard to compare.
Yeah. Well, and then this one is this is the same one. So this is
DNR.
DNR, which is $75 total cost per mowing for all 5 properties. DNR. So 75 for all 5 properties. And the one-time cost is listed as $225 per, that is the That's the cost, the one-time cost, so that's not, that, they didn't provide an hourly for that. $225 time, one-time cost. Let's go look at that.
Oh, 225 for spring cleanup for all the 5 properties. Oh.
If equipment is needed, yeah, it's $95 per hour. Stump grinding, dumpster rentals.
If you want, we can talk about this in the executive session. Or,
I don't know that it needs to, it's mostly just clarification. I imagine we're gonna offer it to
it's quite a bit lower.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, would you say that that 95 per hour is the,
Oh, I didn't see that part.
yeah,
Per person, 70, oh, additional work.
additional work?
Okay. Additional labor for the. So if we do want any of that general stuff, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it appears that, DNR has the least expensive in the mowing of the 5 properties.
It does.
All right.
120, 125, or 75.
Yeah. I would make, you can either do it.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we grant the lawn mowing contract to DR Property Maintenance and Lawn Care, Inc., who proposes to do all 5 town properties for $75 and clean everything up for $225.
One-time cost. Any discussion? Sure, Skip.
I think I would just talk, is it $75 for the entire 5 properties?
That's what
Yeah,
it
that's what it
says.
says.
$75 total cost per mowing for all 5 properties.
What are the 5 properties, just for my?
There's the town office, there's these 2 parks, and around the town hall, and the median strip.
Okay,
So it's not 5 big ones.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking maybe it was the cemetery, but that.
No, that's different.
Yeah, they got their own.
Super, that's really cheap. Fitted for that.
They broke up with us a couple years ago, and they do their own now.
You see.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the mowing contract is awarded to DR Property Maintenance and Lawn Care.
And I have a copy of the contract here that we can sign, and then they can come in and sign it. You can just.
Thanks, Mr. Williams, for submitting. I think he might still be on mute.
Thank you guys.
And good luck with your new business.
Turn him down, but.
All right, so how do we communicate with them if they were awarded the contract? Is that something that we call or
Robin can
town,
just.
Robin? Yeah, thank you.
Tomorrow.
All right. On to other excitement. So it looks like we discussed the reports on the investigation, reports on the complaints. We are meeting the next under updates and other business. Oh, we've got listers. We've got to put that on there. Under updates and other business.
The listers are requesting an extension of time to complete their 2025 grand list. This is something that they do every year, and the state requires that they get our permission, and
I move that we approve their request for,
I'll second that one.
all right. Discussion? Nope. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
12, 25. All right. All these other things on the updates and other business are kind of some items for our town work session. So I think that what we can do is we're gonna enter an executive session for personnel issues, and we can then do our approved bills and payroll orders
Yeah.
off camera.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, some of these things I just stuck on here because they were on the last.
I think it's good to keep them on there
Yeah,
and we'll
even
try
though-
to check those things off the list, even though we'll add more to them. So, motion to enter executive session?
So
Donna?
moved.
All right.
Second.
We're entering executive session for personnel, I don't know how to put it, 1 VSA 313A3
Right.
is the
NVSA.
cause for executive session.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.